Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Uzma Jafri. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 26th of November. India asks Pakistan to expedite trial in 26/11 Mumbai attacks. PM Modi says can't forget wounds. Pakistan petrol retailers and strike after talks. Opposition slams government over crisis. And UN upgrades Nepal and Bangladesh to group of developing nations. And now for all the details. India on Friday summoned a senior Pakistani diplomat and pressed for an expeditious trial in the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks case on the 13th anniversary of the deadly attacks that killed at least 166 people. India's foreign ministry asserted that the terror attack was planned, executed and launched from Pakistani territory. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said India cannot forget the wounds of 26/11.
India on Friday summoned a senior diplomat of the Pakistan High Commission and pressed for an expeditious trial in the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks as the country observed the 13th anniversary of the deadly attacks by paying homage to more than 160 victims. In a note verbal handed over to the diplomat, India's foreign ministry asserted that the terror attack was planned, executed and launched from Pakistani territory. We call on the government of Pakistan to give up double standards and to expeditiously bring the perpetrators of the horrific attack to justice, it said. Meanwhile, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a video message on Twitter termed 26/11 as a sad day and said, India can never forget the wounds of the 2008 attacks perpetrated by attackers from Pakistan.
जो 26 नवंबर के गुनहगार थे उन पे सज़ा दी जाए इसीलिए हमने आज एक सीनियर डिप्लोमेट को पाकिस्तानी दूतावास से बुलाया भी था और उनको एक नोट वर्बाल दिया गया है जिसमें दोहराया गया है कि हम चाहते हैं कि उनका जो ट्रायल हो वो शीघ्रता से हो.
At least 166 persons, including 6 Americans, were killed in the November 2008 Mumbai attacks by 10 gunmen who went on a rampage around various city landmarks for almost 3 days. India blames the gunmen were linked to Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba terror group.
Thousands of Indian farmers marked 1 year of their sustained protests against 3 farm laws on Friday at the borders of Indian capital New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi last week bowed to their demand to repeal the controversial laws in the upcoming parliament session, but farmers have continued their agitation seeking another legislation that would ensure guaranteed prices for all produce, not just rice and wheat.
Tens of thousands of Indian farmers marched overnight to reinforce protesting colleagues camping on the outskirts of the Indian capital New Delhi to mark a year of sustained demonstrations against the 3 farm laws. Dressed in bright yellow scarves representing the color of mustard fields, thousands of women protesters were also seen shouting slogans at the protest sites. Prime Minister Narendra Modi last week bowed to the protesters' demand and said the controversial laws introduced in September 2020 would be repealed in the parliament session next week. Farmers celebrated the retreat but have said their agitation would continue until their other demands, including a legislation on minimum support price or MSP, guaranteeing prices for all crops and not just rice and wheat, would be addressed.
1 साल हो गया और बड़ी हिम्मत है यहाँ के किसानों की. 1 साल से ये आंदोलन कर रहे हैं लेकिन सरकार छूट नहीं ले रही. उसमें भी हेरा फेरी दिखाती है. अभी 3 काले कानून वापसी के लिए MSP पे गारंटी का सवाल एक बड़ा है. अभी उसमें भी सरकार बात कर रही है. 750 किसान शहीद हो गए, उसके बारे में भी सरकार बातचीत शुरू करे.
Meanwhile, demonstrators in northern Amritsar city lit candles and paid tributes to over 750 farmers who lost their lives during the protest. Prime Minister Modi earlier said the legislation was introduced for the benefit of the farmers, but the government failed to convince them about its benefits.
In news from Pakistan, Pakistan's petrol retailers called off a nationwide strike late on Thursday after the government gave in to their demands of an increase in profit margins. As the strike earlier led to panic across the country, opposition leaders termed the crisis heights of injustice and termed the government as incompetent.
Pakistan's petrol retailers called off a nationwide strike late on Thursday after reaching an agreement with Prime Minister Imran Khan's government over an increase in profit margins. The country's energy minister Hamad Azhar said on Twitter, as part of the agreement, the government would allow an increase in profit margins, initially beginning with nearly 1 Pakistani rupee per litre and in 6 months moving to a system that would allow profit margins of up to 4.4%. Meanwhile, as the strike led to people panic buying across various cities, the opposition party slammed the government over the crisis. PMLN Vice President Maryam Nawaz termed the petrol crisis heights of injustice, while Pakistan People's Party Chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari said the government turns solvable issues into crisis through its incompetence. The government has been grappling with the high inflation and conditions under a financing facility agreement with the IMF to lift government revenues by increasing levies. With fuel prices rising several times this year, Pakistan will be continuing to add around 5 Pakistani rupees to petrol prices every month as part of the petroleum levy under the IMF's conditions until it touches 30 Pakistani rupee hike, reports suggest.
Moving on. Gilgit-Baltistan's former Chief Minister Hafiz Hafizur Rahman has slammed Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan for rising inflation and failure to control devaluation of Pakistani rupee against the dollar. Reports suggest amid the economic crisis, for the first time, the country's total debt and liabilities have crossed 50.5 trillion rupees under PM Khan's tenure.
Amid the ongoing financial woes in Pakistan, which have also adversely affected its illegally occupied territories, former Chief Minister of Gilgit-Baltistan Hafiz Hafizur Rahman has accused Pakistan Imran Khan for rising inflation and failure to control the fall of rupees against the US dollar in the interbank currency market. A series of protests have also been held by locals and opposition parties in the illegally occupied region against the rising inflation, poverty and unemployment amid the economic crisis.
तो जो डॉलर का रेट है वो 108 पे हमारी फेडरल गवर्नमेंट छोड़ के गई थी, आज 100 कितने पे है, तकरीबन 74-75 पे, 180 पे भी जा सकता है, खतरा ये भी आपके सामने मौजूद। अब इन सब चीजों की वजह से जो आम आदमी की जिंदगी में मुश्किलात आ रही, वो भी आपके सामने है।
According to reports, for the first time, the total debt and liabilities of Pakistan have crossed 50.5 trillion Pakistani rupees. There has been an increase of nearly 70% in the total debt in just 39 months. Sherry Rahman, opposition Pakistan People's Party Vice President, in a tweet slammed Prime Minister Imran Khan and said in just 3 years the government has imposed an additional burden of rupees 91,000 on every Pakistani. Pakistan has been grappling with high inflation that is particularly hitting the country's poor and middle classes, and conditions under a financing facility agreement with International Monetary Fund has forced the government to withdraw tax exemptions.
Afghanistan's healthcare system is at risk of collapse and hospitals are grappling with the fallout of a rapidly spreading economic crisis that has threatened millions with hunger. The crisis has only gotten worse since the Taliban seized power in the country 3 months ago. Amid Afghan poverty, children continue to suffer and face death from malnutrition.
Afghanistan's hospitals are grappling with the fallout of a rapidly spreading economic crisis that has threatened millions with hunger. Many children have been suffering from malnutrition this year due to poverty. UN agencies say as much as 95% of the population does not regularly have enough to eat, and the head of the World Health Organization recently warned the health system was on the brink of collapse as international aid has dried up. Mothers and malnourished children fill the rooms in capital Kabul's main children's hospital, the Indira Gandhi Children's Hospital. Nafisa, a mother of 8 in Kabul, was sad that she couldn't give her children enough food to eat.
آواره شد دیگه شد فقر شدیم مجبوری شد به پیسگی آمد چیز نداشتیم از مجبوری به پیسگی و کسی کوی نیست که کار کنه دیگه کنه جنگ جدل نیستی و نداری اولاده ما چیز میشه تقاضی میشه 1 سال میشه که شهید شده خود جنگ شد مرمی خورده.
According to World Food Programme, 3.2 million children under 5 are expected to suffer from acute malnutrition by the end of this year in Afghanistan.
در این فصل سال ما بسیار کم مریض می داشتیم. دوار سوی تغذی خود نهایت 5 الی 7 مریضان بستر می بود. ولی حال ما روزانه 5 الی 7 مریض بستر می کنیم.
Afghanistan plunged into crisis in August after Taliban fighters drove out a Western-backed Afghan government, prompting donors to hold back billions of dollars in assistance for the aid-dependent economy. Meanwhile, the United States will resume talks with the Taliban next week in Qatari capital Doha, addressing among other issues the fight against terrorism and the humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan.
The UN General Assembly at its 76th session this week adopted a historic resolution to graduate 3 nations, including Bangladesh and Nepal, from the least developed country category to the developing country grouping. The 3 countries that got clearance for graduation are Bangladesh, Nepal and the Lao People's Democratic Republic. The UN in a statement said the 3 countries will graduate from the LDC category after an exceptionally extended preparatory period of 5 years to enable them to prepare for graduation while planning for a post-COVID-19 recovery and implementing policies and strategies to reverse the economic and social damage incurred by the COVID-19 shock. Bangladesh's permanent representative to the UN, Rabab Fatima, took to Twitter and said, "What better way to celebrate 50th anniversary of Bangladesh's independence and birth centenary of founder Bangabandhu." Currently, there are a total of 46 countries on the LDC list, according to the UN Committee for Development Policy. According to the UN, per capita income of $1,230 is one of the requirements for transitioning into a developing nation. An 80-year-old Indian woman has drawn the interest of social media in the country by eating sand for food for over 6 decades for her survival. The octogenarian claims the unique diet has been key to her good health.
Eighty-year-old Kusmavati Devi, a resident of India's northern Varanasi's Cholapur area, has drawn the interest of social media in the country by eating sand for food for over 6 decades for her survival. Kusmavati Devi said she has been eating sand since she was 20 years old on the advice of an Ayurveda doctor to treat her aching stomach. There has been no looking back since then. Sand and gravel have become a part of her diet.
20 साल का रही तब से खाते।
अच्छा, इसको खाने से कोई दिक्कत?
नहीं दिक्कत होती।
आपके बच्चे मना नहीं करते हैं?
बच्चे मना करते, हम मानती नहीं।
अच्छा,
हम ना माने।
अरे इसको खाने से आपको कभी कोई दिक्कत महसूस नहीं हुआ?
नहीं, जब ना खा हमको नींद नहीं आई, कौन मरीज हो जाएगी।
Her photos and videos have gone viral on social media, making her an internet sensation. Many people, including her family, are worried about the side effects this strange diet may have on her health, but claims the unique diet has been key to her good health.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on southasianewsline.com. You can also visit us on facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.